The goal of lesson 11 is to be able to find the multiplicative inverse, also known as the reciprocal, of any non-zero real number. So if you recall, we've already learned about the additive inverse, which is also called the opposite of a number. And when we add a number and its additive inverse, we get a sum of 0. So for example, 1 plus negative 1 equals 0. 8 plus negative 8 equals 0. With a reciprocal or multiplicative inverse, when we multiply a number times its multiplicative inverse, the product is equal to 1. Okay, so that's the key thing to know, or a key thing to know about the reciprocal, or again, multiplicative inverse. Those are synonyms. When we multiply them together, we get a product of 1, and that's going to be really useful to us in a lot of the types of problems that we'll solve in the near future. The simplest way to think about finding the multiplicative inverse is to flip the fraction. So in other words, reverse the numerator and denominator, and then there you go, you found your multiplicative inverse. So for example, 2/5, we flip that fraction, 5 over 2, and we can see how if we were to multiply 2/5 times 5 halves, we would get 10 for our numerator and 10 for our denominator. And when our numerator and denominator are equal, then that overall value is 1. Okay, so that's the simplest way to think about finding this multiplicative inverse, is to flip the fraction. So here we've got -4/11. We're going to flip that fraction. Remember to keep that negative sign. Now, what about 3? Well, that's not a fraction. So when we're tasked with finding the reciprocal of a whole number, a number that is not written as a fraction, I should say, what we're going to do is put it over 1. Okay, we didn't change the value by writing 3 over 1. It's still equal to 3, but now it's in a fraction format that we can flip. And so this multiplicative inverse, we're going to flip that fraction, is equal to 1 over 3. Okay, so then here's how we can think about it for any non-zero real number a. Okay, we're just using a as a fill-in for any non-zero real number. The multiplicative inverse equals 1 over a, and that's because of what I just showed you. We can think of a over 1, and then we flip that, and it becomes 1 over a. So here are a few more examples where we're tasked with finding the reciprocal or multiplicative inverse. So first we've got 4. I'm going to think of that as 4 over 1. I'm going to flip that, becomes 1 over 4. Again, we can see that if we were to multiply these together, we would end up with 4 over 4, which is equal to 1. 1/5, we flip, it becomes 5 over 1, which I can just write as 5. -2, I'm going to write that over 1. We flip it, it becomes 1 over -2. 7/3, we flip to 3/7. I think you're getting the idea here. 0, if I write it as 0 over 0, the issue with that, and so the issue with, or the reason rather, why our goal is to find the reciprocal of any non-zero real number is because we, as discussed in the previous lesson, we cannot divide by 0. That's not a possibility. This would be undefined. And so even if we were to flip this, we'd have 0 over 0, and we can't have 0 in the denominator. And so therefore, much like 0 is the only number that does not have an opposite, an additive inverse, 0 is also the only number that does not have a reciprocal, because we cannot divide by 0.